you had to pump the water in the sink,
Oh, wow.
and you had a bucket under your bed, and they had an outside outhouse.
This is up in Maine?
Mm.
And this is when you and Grandpa were on your honeymoon, or this is different?
This is when we had, th- these were friends of ours from Fort Trumbull,
Okay.
and we went, this is after the war, because we went to visit them in Maine, and we had Marge and Wayne with us,
Ah, okay.
and they had an outhouse. And for water in the kitchen sink, you really pumped the water up, pumped hard
Wow.
to get it up.
And you were saying for your honeymoon, you were at the camp, and there was an island, and
Yeah, that was fun. We had running water there,
okay.
And she said her friend owned the camp.
and we had canoes to pull up to
Aw.
the camp.
And you went skinny dipping.
Yeah, that was the best fun.
Well,
Was it? The island blocked you from any of the other houses and things on the pond.
that's nice. And where was that? That was in Maine too.
No, that was either Rhode Island or Connecticut,
Okay.
right nearby. I had been as a camper there that was owned by Rhode Island Friends.
Hmm.
And when I was 14, I stayed there all week. My parents paid for me to stay. And my sister had a job at the camp. And I'm not sure, Kirk wasn't working there.
Hmm.
My sister earned her room and board, and they paid for me my parents paid for me to go for a week.
Hmm.
And that's where I got my first kiss from one of the fellas at camp.
Wow.
Oh.
How old were you?
14.
Wow. That's a big memory.
Yeah, there were two fellas there. And I was the only girl of the right age. There was one other girl. She wasn't the right age, so I got all the attention. And each one of them gave me a kiss.
Each one of them. Wow.
Well, not at the same time. Two kisses and one from each.
Wow.
And one fella had been kissing other women, and he did a nice job. And the other fellow, I think it was the first time he kissed a girl too, and he was a sloppy kisser.
Wow, I never heard this story. That's great. Wow.
And my sister, she wasn't a nurse yet, I don't think. She wasn't that time. And she said, make them keep their hands above your waist. But neither one of them were pushy about getting their hands on me.
Well, that's good.
But when she got into nurses training, she insisted I know where the babies came from.
That's probably wise.
Yeah, I don't know who she learned from her mother or when or what, but she never told me. But she did tell me that.
So your parents didn't teach you, it was your sister.
Yeah,
Interesting. And that's when you were about 14?
probably younger. I don't know.
How much older was your sister than you?
3 years.
3 years, okay.
Did you guys hang out together at camp?
No, not at all. No, she was paid help.
Yeah.
And my parents paid for me to go. I don't know what she did to earn a keep. I know she had her senior life-saving program, and I worked out all the things to get my badge, and then the son of the camp owners, who was probably late teens or early 20s, he gave me the test and passed and signed for me to get my junior life-saving badge.
Mm.
I was proud of that. When I went to camp up in Maine with the group from church, they had an inlet that was about around maybe half a mile, and it had this opening to the ocean, and the ocean came in at high tide and went out at low tide, and then when it came in at high tide, they put a gate down, a solid gate that held the water in for a couple of days, so it warmed up
Mm.
because it was cold. And then once or twice a week, they let the water go out, especially at nighttime, so that it filled up.
I never heard that.
Hmm.
But
Is
they
that the
let
place-
it warm up a few days. We swam in the same water a few days. It gave it time to warm up. And I can remember I was 15 or so about that. I remember the boys were practicing diving on the diving boards. And I wanted to learn to dive. And they were all kids about 14 and maybe some older, but they were all giving each other critiques on diving. So I joined the group that were learning to dive.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it, and I was, well, one time after another, and I keep jumping in, and finally the lifeguard told me I was too sunburned. I had to stay out of the water. And I said, no, I wasn't sunburned. I said, that's slaps from diving.
Oh, that's a good story.
Well, that's what I was ready from not diving properly.
Oh,
And I
no.
wanted to keep diving, so I did.
Well, that's funny.
Is that the same place where you would swim out to the rock?
No, that was Booth Bay Harbor, the summer that I went at the art colony. I was in high school then, and my art teacher was an elderly man, and he was he should have been retired, but I guess he was trying to hold on to get to a better pay. He retired and a little later he got a better pay. So I took, the first year I got in high school, I took the art class and I loved it. And the second year, I took the art course again during my study hour.
Okay.
So then I did the third year. I love going in the art department and doing these things. And the teachers were nice then. They would help you do something else on their own time that you wanted to know how to do it and teach you. So I took art in my free class.